Hi, my name is Pookie, and this is my Monstrous guide to gear in World of Warcraft's newest expansion, Legion. Out of all the many types of world quests that exist, the ones you should never neglect involve gear. A lot of these pieces of gear that you will obtain for whatever slot you need will more than likely be Warforged or Titanforged. Their stats aren't always optimal, but in the beginning, the item level does help, and it will help you progress throughout mythic dungeons and even raids. A lot of the clips you're seeing right now show multiple types of world quests. All these world quests give you different rewards. Some of them give you gear, some of them don't, but I highly suggest you do the ones that you see in the background right now. PvP world quests are really crucial because they can indeed give you upgrades. A lot of them have versatility, which is not good for everyone, but they do help you with item level that will help you progress into getting the pieces of gear you do want. There are some profession clips that I included. Also, there are other types of world quests that do have gear that you may not have unlocked simply because you haven't done the quest for them. So don't be discouraged if you don't have a lot of world quests to start off with. Just keep going and you will find more. Out of all the many different types of world quests, I understand that some class halls do offer an upgrade to non-repeatable quest items. Just to be clear, these do not apply to any world quest, even if it's your first time doing that world quest, because world quests are indeed repeatable. So if you have that and you've already finished leveling, you want to get rid of it. It does not help you for world quests. This is not an illusion. Now we're going to talk about this beautiful city called Suramar. In Suramar, you're most likely going to find a lot of annoying quests, but a lot of them do offer really good rewards between gold, chunky amounts of artifact power, and really good gear. Some of the trinkets may be subpar, but a lot of the gear will be matching your item level. Even though you are still 840, and most places will offer between 820 and 835 as a starting level, Suramar will more than likely offer 840 gear because you are 840. So if you want to get the best out of your time, you will want to prioritize Suramar's world quest whenever you can, if there is gear or if there is artifact power, either way. Last but not least, we have Emissary quests. Emissary quests are quests that reset every single day, and they stack up to 3 times, but after the 3rd day, one of them will be taken away. These boxes that you get from the Emissary quest will have the highest chance at a legendary with the most minimal effort, so you want to do them. These Emissary quests can be completed by doing 4 different quests from that faction. Once you complete them, you'll get a lot of reputation, you'll get some items, possibly some really good loot, but you will get something well out of it. So please do them. They are very important. If you haven't already figured out that reputation is very important in Legion, you will now. I would explain in detail how you get each piece, but that takes up a lot of time, and I don't really feel like doing that, so I will tell you in the description how you do that because it'd be a lot easier for you to read it. But you do get the shoulders from the class hall by getting exalted with the Nightfallen, the reputation in Suramar. It's very important that you do this, so you should do it, and there's no excuse for you not to do it because your class hall armor set can indeed help you get into mythic dungeons very quickly. So go do it. For those who question why I put a profession world quest in the background, it's because you need craftables in Legion. Wherever you don't have an item that's optimal, you can replace it with a craftable item. Craftable items are much cheaper now that we're a month into Legion, and a little more so you really want to consider these as an option. Making money in Legion is not as hard as one thinks, and if you do have issues with making money, I will be making a gold making guide at some point, maybe within the next month, but there will be one coming from me soon. So what you want to do with craftable items is that you want to find the ones with the perfect stats to replace any items that are very, very bad for you. Because, well, who doesn't like really good gear? And it'll definitely make it a lot easier if you don't have a lot of time. It's a really good way to find a balance between mythic raiding and mythic dungeons, and if you really, really need it, you can actually buy a full set of craftables. That's what I did to be ready for raid since the first week or so. I think by day 9 I had a full set of craftables, but that's just me. If you really want to, you can, and it's very suggested that you get some craftable items, but if you can't afford it, it's really, you can make them yourself. Honestly, they're pretty easy to make. So go out there, get some grinding done, get yourself some nice gear, make it even better, and go kill some stuff, man. Oh boy, now we get to talk about dungeons. So dungeons are definitely very interesting this expansion. What I'm doing right now is Heroic Eye of Azshara. Eye of Azshara is definitely one of the more tedious dungeons, but dungeons are very important nonetheless. You want to do as many dungeons as you can with whatever temperament you can. Just try to get through it. But for the time being, let's talk about a little bit heroic dungeons and a little bit of mythic dungeons. Heroic dungeons will definitely give you upgrades early on. Mythic dungeons will too, but you need to keep in mind that mythic dungeons you can only do once a week per dungeon. So that's 10 dungeons total if you have the Suramar dungeons unlocked. Once you do those, you're back to doing heroics. The way you supplement this is by doing Mythic Plus Keystones. Mythic Plus Keystones are mythic dungeons that have been, I guess you could say, enhanced by affixes, such as, for example, bolstering. Bolstering means that when one ad dies next to another, the ad closest to it gets a buff for 20% health and 20% damage. Those are the kinds of things you will see in Mythic Plus. Mythic Plus goes up to plus 15, so you want to take this seriously. Mythic Plus is definitely how you'll get most of your gear. It's definitely the most important way to get your gear, and you will need a solid group to do this. You can do the first 5 or 6 pretty easily with about 850 item level, so long as you're well coordinated. But anything higher than 6, you will start to feel it much more than you would a raid. There's only 5 of you, and you want to work well together. So keep that in mind when you go do some Mythic Plus. Now, to wrap this up, we have some honorable mentions. LFR, or looking for raid, is something that Blizzard incorporated quite a while ago, and some may tell you that it's worth your time to go in there and spend an hour on something that should only take you about 20 minutes. I disagree. If you have the time, you feel like blowing some steam off, you go do some LFR. It's really simple, it takes some time, but you don't really have to put much effort, and there's a chance you might get some pretty decent gear. But if you can do something else that's more productive, you definitely should. LFR is definitely not something that's a mandatory thing, nor should anybody ever convince you that it is. It's really not that big a deal. Now, another thing is legendaries. Legendaries are the most important piece of gear that you can get, but it's completely based off of luck, and basically people will farm heroics and LFR for these legendaries, and it's just simply not worth the time. If you get one, you get one. If you don't, it doesn't really matter. They will help you in some form or way if you get a good one, but if you get a bad one, it makes zero difference, and you just spent all that extra time doing God knows what for a legendary that's not going to do much for you. Now, another big deal that I can't really put a clip in for because, well, I just couldn't find one because there was no groups, but world bosses. World bosses are very, one could say, neglectable, but they're definitely worth doing. You only have to kill it once a week, and it's really not that hard if you do it at the beginning of the week because there's a lot of people there. All you have to do is hit the boss, and you'll get credit for it. They do drop 860 by default, and it can be Titan Forge, so you definitely want to go there and just give it a hit. But if you don't feel like it and you don't really want to because it doesn't really drop anything important for you, then you obviously don't have to. PvP is our last honorable mention and should be treated a lot like Mythic Dungeons. It starts off at 840, and a lot of the pieces won't always drop in your favor, or sometimes you won't even get one. Sometimes you'll get something else, but it is worth trying. You only need to win once in 2v2, 3v3, and once in rated battlegrounds. These are all rated fights. You only have to win one, but it's definitely worth a try, and I definitely think everybody should do those once a week. For all those who actually made it through, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave me some comments, and I will get back to you.